role is to turn these children into spectacles, not survivors.
There's a new Hunger Games film now available here in the Philippines, but does it live up to the legacy of the original franchise? Yan ang pag-usapan natin sa video na ito. Hey YouTube, what's up? My name is Aram and welcome back to the channel. I will be talking about, like I said, the Hunger Games film, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. But before that, let's talk about what this film is all about. This is first and foremost a prequel set several years before the events of the original franchise. We actually follow this guy named Coriolanus Snow, whose name may sound familiar because he is the main antagonist in the original franchise. This time around, we see his rise to power. This film is also based off of the Suzanne Collins novels, just like the original trilogy were. Let's first talk about continuity. It's interesting, of course, when anything is set before the events of an original story, and then you put that next or after everything has been told. There is that pressure to set continuity backwards. But I believe this film does that in the sense that we get an older version of Panem, we get an older version of the capital. I love the fact that we get to see more of the capital here, and the tensions and divisions within the capital itself in a way lays the foundations of what would be the future of the Hunger Games. Like, you get different elements that are just being put into fruition in this context or in this story. For example, the televised version of the Hunger Games, or the fact that there is a host this time around, si Flickerman, which I think is yung predecessor nung Flickerman din ni Stanley Tucci in the original franchise. You get a couple of Easter eggs such as Tigress Snow, but I love the fact that they're trying to figure out how to up the numbers in terms of the viewership for the Hunger Games, which is really cool. So they're devising different methods and whatnot in this story. This film, in a way, really showcases Snow. I love any story that talks about that, where you get a different side to a character, because as we know, there are multiple sides to a story. This isn't a means to redeem him. Okay, that's something I must say. You don't get a redemption for him. He's not entirely humanized, but in a way you see the tension all the more here. You see that battle of morality within him that you don't necessarily see in the original franchise. He's already at that point where he's numb to all of this. And you see already the cracks in his character in this film. It was through the small little things slowly growing and growing and growing until you reach this part where he's already transitioning to the Snow that we know. Even the lines that they have here, Snow falls on top, which points to his ambition. It's really his ambition that kind of blinded him to become the man that he would later on become. And Tom Blyth really went in here and delivered in terms of portraying Coriolanus Snow in such a way that you see the progression. Yes, there's a bit of inconsistencies in the character development. Like, may tension talaga eh. Yun yung nakikita mo yung back and forth in terms of morality, but later on him owning up to, okay, I want what's best for me, and I'm going to rise and trample on whoever to get to where I want to be. Again, ambition. This film showcased a lot of amazing A-lister cast members. Na-surprise ako to first see Viola Davis as this mad scientist who is creating ways to make the Hunger Games a bit more creative and to increase viewership. I loved her here. I mean, she's amazing as she is in every role she does. But here, there's a different side. Very cartoonish at times, but still lovable. Peter Dinklage, nothing I can say against Peter Dinklage. Embracing the role in a subtle manner, which I really liked. Ako, one of my highlights was Rachel Zegler. She's not the biggest highlight. She was in a way undermined or medyo natatabunan siya at times. But what I liked about her, just like what I've seen in her in the past with West Side Story, her talent when she sings is just amazing, and I'm glad they showcased it here. The talent singing-wise was great. In terms of the acting, it was pretty spot on as well. There's an eccentric nature to the character which she does embrace. If you were going to compare this to Jennifer Lawrence, dun ka magkakamali. It's like apples and oranges, but as the main female protagonist here, I think she did a pretty great job. I think she pretty much did perform to the best of her ability in every scene that she was in. Tom Blyth and Peter Dinklage did overpower her because their presence, when they stepped in every scene, was just top-notch. but it wasn't all that bad for Rachel Zegler as well. Now, in terms of the story, I just felt my biggest comment here is it was a bit fast. There is this chapter basis to this story. It's chunked into 3 chapters. And at first, I felt like it was 3 distinct films. Like the tonality, the cinematography, the vibes. So it felt disjointed at times. It felt like whenever you would cut to the next chapter, it's like, okay, reset. Pacing-wise, it is a bit slow and uneven. Towards the end, it felt like everything was rushed, that the character development, even for Coriolanus Snow and the events of that, felt like it was super quick. Na parang, oh, bakit biglang nag-iba sila? In the last chapter, it squeezed everything that it's hard to keep up at times, and then boom, ending na. So yun yung pinaka-biggest comment ko with this film. It does have an inconsistency in terms of its pacing, but I do love what you get, especially in the first 2 chapters. First 2 chapters are very exciting. They're very, jam-packed. Whatever you want out of a Hunger Games film, you get it here. You're back into seeing simpler version of the games, and that was fun to see. I love the way that they were also talking about things in the political side, in terms, again, of that ambition, in terms of what they wanted for themselves in the capital. It's a very symbolic social commentary about politics, about war. It's not just watching this on a surface level. You need to get deeper. Overall, this film, besides the pacing, besides some of the flaws in the characterization and acting at times, it's a pretty decent offering in the Hunger Games franchise. As a whole, this film pretty much is a pretty okay, decent watch. So I give this film a score of 7 out of 10. So have you guys seen the Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes? Wow, that title is really long. But have you seen it? What are your thoughts? Leave me a comment down below. As always, don't forget to make every day into an adventure. God bless, guys, and peace out.